Welcome to yet another brilliant episode. My co-founder, called Shilpa Joshi. I take this opportunity to welcome you once again to yet a brilliant session. I know today we are talking about the three deadly mistakes working professionals do that keeps them stuck. I know as a career professional, a former career professional yourself, as a business owner yourself, as a high ticket professional, this is something that is very, very close to your heart. And so, listeners, today, as you listen to this is a special moment where you're going to learn some of the mistakes that working professionals and even business owners do that keeps them stuck. This episode is special because, as you know, mistakes are things that keep taking us back. However, in this episode, Coach Shilpa is going to share with us what can we actually do once we make mistakes. She's made her own mistakes. I have made my own mistakes. But today's episode is special that it gives us a way of learning from our mistakes. And so I would like to welcome you, Coach Shilpa, and really start right off our discussion with having you welcome our guests, and then we take it from there.
Yes, absolutely. I welcome all our audience, learned audience, all our viewers for Lead Talk Podcast and Lead Talk TV. And we deeply value your support, your comments, and your suggestions. And some of you are reaching out to us for more guidance. That's what inspires us. So, welcome you all. And today we are going to give our best so that it makes worth of your time.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for welcoming our guests, both on TV and on audio. Now, one of the things we always like to do is every episode, we always have gifts for you. So make sure you go to the previous episodes, download the gifts that we have for you there. And also, after this episode, we are going to have another guest. We're not going to mention his name, but it's somebody who has been in the business space. We want you to look after for him. All right.
Yes.
All right. So, with that said, I would like to welcome you, Coach Shilpa, co founder and co host for Lead Talk TV and Lead Talk Podcast, to start right away. Now, one of the key things that intrigued me when we had the chat offline is we usually talk about career growth. We talk about career change. We talk about success strategies for working professionals and business owners. But when you said that today I would like to share about the mistakes both working professionals and business owners make, I was a little curious. So, why did you choose this topic today?
Okay, great question, Dr. Gerard. And as you start always with an amazing question. Firstly, actually, I don't want to take this credit. I want to acknowledge our learned audience who posted this question to us. As into, you are talking so much about the growth and the change, and he's grateful for that. But he asked that what are the mistakes people do, because I mentioned one of this mistake in the previous episode, and I acknowledge that question and really appreciate our audience's deep listening, because deep listening is where the learning begins, right? So this is the credit to our audience that we are doing this particular session on mistakes, and we are going to talk about mistakes today. That's wonderful. And I want to start with a quote, very famous quote, which is also the quote for the week for our this episode, as we do as our tradition. And the quote is from the Henry Ford. The only real mistake is the one from which we learn nothing. I'll repeat again. The only real mistake is the one from which we learn nothing.
Wow.
While it is important to do the right things, it is also important to avoid mistakes as much as possible. Though we cannot completely eliminate them, and it is not always possible to not make any errors, because errors and mistakes, I believe, are the learning curve. having looking back and looking at the mistakes I have done, they have
Mhm.
taught me something, right? However, some mistakes could be expensive, and we can also learn from others' mistakes. It's not necessary to make them ourselves
Mhm.
and burn our fingers. And that's why today we are going to speak about the mistakes which our audience can avoid, and if we can, help them save their precious time, moment, emotions, I think that would be success of this episode.
I know, I know. Go on, go on.
Yes. Okay. So, having said that, we always try to avoid mistakes, and that we do primarily for main three reasons. We have this inner instinct that we want to be always right.
Very
We
true.
also have a fear of criticism.
Yes.
And third one, as I said earlier, mistakes can be expensive. However, there is hardly anyone, as we said before, who has not done a mistake or error of judgment or any other wrong guesses. But
Mhm.
having said that, let's define what is a mistake, by the way, how
Mhm.
people have defined it. So people have been defining the mistakes in the dictionary and in various, visionaries,
Mhm.
that an action and a decision that is wrong or a procedure which is wrong, as a result, the result and the outcome was not correct or
Mhm.
was not intended in the first place, right? So it could be an error in action, calculation, opinion, judgment, which can be caused by poor reasoning, carelessness, insufficient knowledge, or the circumstantial things.
Yeah, I can
So
relate to
having,
that.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
thank you for that. And now, since we know that everybody makes mistakes, error, big or small, what we can do is that we can use them
Yeah.
and not stay stuck feeling miserable and hurt and cry over the mistake for a long time. I made mistake of
Yeah.
leaving my well-paying job once. I left my job twice, and
Mhm.
once wrong way, once the right way. And I'm very grateful for the wrong way. It taught me most of the things. So leaving a job was in itself was not a mistake, but
Mhm.
the way of leaving job was.
Say
When
that
you leave,
again. Say that again. That's very important.
yes.
Yes.
So leaving a job in itself was not a mistake,
Mhm.
but the way I left the job was a mistake. The reason we leave job, for example, in desperation,
Mhm.
it is in the need of doing it. It's in that makes us take hasty actions and hasty decisions. That's why the action itself may not be wrong, but the intention behind it, the desperation behind the action can sometimes make us do the bigger mistakes. I heard my inner voice to move on from my current job
Mhm.
for all valid reasons, but the way I chose was investment in a very high capital incentive intensive business, which
Mhm.
I had a little or no control, no experience of. And I believed the experience and knowledge of my other partners, and they were great. They had great abilities.
Mhm.
However, the complete reliance on somebody else for your success is a mistake you make, right? But the things turned out other way, and I lost my 20 years of saving. And I'm saying, must quote Gerard, it's a savings. Savings is not our earnings. It's
Yeah,
savings after sheer hard work, sacrifices, and then we save an amount. And when you lose that, it hurts. I've
I
narrated
know.
more about this mistake in our previous episode as well, right? Episode number 4, as I
Yeah.
recollect. And I would ask our audience to go back and listen to it if they're starting today with us. So that what matters after that mistake is that I realized in time that it was a mistake. Realizing the mistake early and taking U-turn faster is a
Mhm.
great way to rectify the mistake. I accepted it is my responsibility and no blame game is going to help.
True.
I accepted the defeat. I
Mhm.
turned back very fast, choosing to stay above the criticism, above the fear of embarrassment and a failure.
I can relate
And
to that totally.
yeah, and that's when I learned the biggest lesson of my life, which I could use and integrate in life. And then now I could successfully revive my career after taking few years to rebuild, relaunch myself. I also recently, now today, I completed 1 year of leaving my well paying, high paying job to become who I am today, a high ticket professional, consultant, and a coach, and co hosting this beautiful conversation with you.
Beautiful, beautiful. And just listening to you passionately, I know we make mistakes. I've done that myself, and both of us have grown based on our mistakes. In a way, you could say our mistakes catapulted us to where we are today, where we're able to consult for other businesses, where we have to coach other high level professionals. And just like you said at the beginning, and like what Henry Ford said, it's not really the mistakes we make, it's not learning from the mistakes that is the mistake. And sharing this experience on the episode today, I think, listener, as you're going through this must be life changing. Just like it's for me today, I'm sure you'll find this very riveting. So
Yeah.
go on, Shilpa.
Yeah. And as you rightly said, that real mistake is not learning from a mistake, and making the same mistake again and again is also a bigger mistake.
Yeah.
And big mistakes always alter the course of our life if we are present to the learnings. It brings more resilience once you accept and reflect on the learnings. If we keep defending ourselves, we start fights, blame game, and we may just rob ourselves of $1 million work of the teachings, the life's lessons it's trying to teach us to make us become stronger for the coming journey.
Mhm.
Hence, I'm who I am because of the mistakes I made, and also the good things I could do, for help and guidance I received, and also the help and support I received when I made this mistake. And I could build that strong resilience of taking that U turn or having that J curve, what we call.
Mhm.
And I'm grateful for the people on this journey with me, just like you. So,
Oh,
over to you for the next question.
thank you. I mean, just the J curve, because most people, and the interesting thing, most people do not benefit from challenges. They kind of go down with the mistakes and they begin to victimize themselves. They begin to blame the circumstance. And I like the fact that you said the challenge is not making the mistake, but the trouble is making the same mistake again and again and not really learning from it.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that also in this journey, you met other people who are supportive. And I like the
Yeah.
fact that you're expressing gratitude because as both of you and me, we share the same mentor. And one of the things we learned from our shared mentor is we have to be grateful. So I would like to appreciate you for that element of gratefulness. Now, with that said, what is the top mistake that you see business owners and working professionals make over and over again?
Yeah, that's a very important question as we start diving straight into our discussion. The number one mistake is working hard on the job in your business and not on themselves. I'll
Wow.
clarify this because,
Wow.
as my mentor Jim Rohn says, work harder on yourself than you do on your job. This line has altered the perspective of my life.
Wow.
I'll say it again. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Most working professionals, business owners, entrepreneurs work very, very, very hard, very sincerely on their job. And they believe, and even I was part of them. I'm not saying they, I was also part of the same journey. And I believed if I do good work and I keep working harder and harder, that's when one day somebody would be happy with my work and I get all the success. There is nothing wrong in this first part of working very hard and being sincere. But the mistake is not working hard on themselves, on yourself. That's the part of the mistake.
Yeah.
Right? So what happens when you work hard only on job? Because working hard, I believe there is no easy success, right? Nobody is an overnight success.
No.
But while you work hard on your job and give your best, you keep working harder. That's what happens. you are overworked, and sometimes you are underpaid.
Yeah.
Then we start doubting our own ability to succeed, as you already have crossed your ability to do the work. And then we start thinking, oh, I can't go beyond this. I'm already crushing myself under the workload.
I know.
So I guess this is who I am. This is all I can do. And that's why this is where I can always reach, because
Yeah.
I can't work any harder than this.
Yeah.
Right? But then what happens when you start realizing that mistake and take the mentor's golden nugget on working on yourself? What happens when you work harder on the self is that your personal growth then starts dictating your professional growth.
Wow.
You become more valuable. You become self conscious and then start mastering the growth mindset, which is then breaking your barriers to the success.
Wow. Wow.
When you work harder on a self, you would know the difference.
Absolutely. And this just gives some light bulb of and working hard on the job versus working hard on the job and working hard on yourself.
Yes.
I think as we're listening to this is money's worth moment, because this should be able to change your perspective as you're listening to this. This is important. Most good people, and it's not, working hard is not bad by any standards. It's good.
Yeah.
It's actually the basis of being hired. Nobody wants to give a job to a lazy employee.
Yes.
Also, a business owner will not be successful if he or she does not work hard. But the concept would like you to pay attention here too is, as much as you work on the business, work on yourself as a person, as a business owner, as the accountant, as the banker. This is the perspective we want to draw your attention to.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yes.
having said that, in the coming episode, I'll share a specific process that will help our audience to work more effectively on themselves to achieve the ultimate success, because there is a process, proven process, which works.
Mhm.
Because if you tell somebody, okay, go and work harder on yourself, okay, so how do I do that? That's the next question. And we want to give the complete answer. So we'll prepare a special episode on that as well.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, Coach Shilpa, keep giving more and keep giving more. Now, after talking about the first mistake, I would like us to move to the second mistake that working professionals and business owners do that basically sabotages their progress. So
Okay.
over to you.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
So, second mistake number 2 is a lack of high self awareness. So, you may ask me why even this is a mistake,
Mhm.
right? Most working professionals and business owners are focused on doing and not being. Let me explain. As
Wow.
explained in episode 6 on what next level career success means, I would request our audience to go back and listen to it, because
Mhm.
these are some of the foundational episodes where we have explained the principles and the concepts, right? So that would be helpful. This will help you understand which level you are at,
Mhm.
why you're feeling stuck, and how to strive for the next level success. As per the next level framework, most people start with struggle or stability stage.
Mhm.
And that's perfectly fine. We started there as well, and we stayed there for some time. The prime focus at this level is to start earning money, get chance to work, get that first yes in the job interview, or get
Yes.
that first yes from the client.
Yes.
And then in next few years, to keep the job, to keep getting the work, so that you start taking care of yourself and your family.
Yes.
This is a very necessary phase. But what happens that this phase makes us do what we think is a must to do, what we need to do,
Yeah.
what others are doing. We start observing others and start following them. We start fitting in what others expect us to do, what we do best to fit in, make no mistakes, and suppress all our innovation, thinking, feeling, dreams, and aspirations. This complete process of being comfortable shuts that down. Let me narrate you a small story. Is that okay?
Beautiful. I just going to ask you. I would like you to elaborate because I see good people getting stuck. So
Yeah.
because they want to fit in it, they want to see what the neighbor is doing. People, small business owners learning from fellow small business owners and doing exactly the same thing and kind of throwing away their dreams. Elaborate a little bit on that and why that is a mistake.
Okay, so I'll elaborate on that. It's why because we have been indoctrinated to fit into the standards. If
Mhm,
somebody is going above a standard, then it is considered as weird or crazy.
mhm,
And sometimes in a professional atmosphere, especially if you're working for others,
mhm.
making a mistake is viewed very, very seriously.
Yeah.
And there are no rooms for the error. That's when we start believing to be safe than growing. And that's when we start fitting in than being outstanding.
So
That
are we?
itself,
Yeah. So
yeah,
so in a way, you are saying we will forget your creativity. You just want to fit in to be safe.
yes.
All
We
right.
don't want to show how different we are. We want to show how similar we are to others, right?
That's
And
definitely a
that's
mistake.
when we start neglecting the self-awareness process, who we are, why we are different. We don't want to even listen to that. We don't want to be different suddenly,
I
right?
know. And this takes us to the right place for you to tell us a story. So, story time, go for it. What story would you like to share with us today?
It's a simple, nice story. It's like I like that. There was a village border, and there was a pathway where you have to cross that pathway to go to the next village, another village.
Yes.
And a wise man used to sit there at the border every day for 2 hours. And he used to talk to all the travelers coming there. And he used to ask these three questions:
Mhm.
Where are you going? Why are you going there? And what would you find there? So it was one such day, and one traveler came his way, and wise man asked him the three questions: Where are
Mhm.
you going? Why are you going there? And what would you find there? He said, Old man, can you not see I'm just going to the next village for my work? I'm going to have a very hectic, tiring day, and I'm not here to find anything. Please leave me. Wise
Wow.
man said, You will get what you wish, my son. Then the
Wow.
second person came after some time. Again, wise man asked the same questions. Son, where are you going? Why are you going there? What would you find there? Oh, my dear old man, I'm going to see the world, and the road to the world is passing through this border to the next
Mhm.
village. I'm traveling to capture 1,000 stories, which will help me find my way to create a world record, be famous, and make an impact. And now I have gathered one story by talking to you. I'm so grateful. I'm on my way to success. Wise man said, Son, you will get what you wish.
Wow. Wow. Powerful
What is the
story.
difference? Yes, what is the difference? Same action, same road, same questions, but totally different perspective.
Yeah.
Coming from a higher self awareness. If we think our work is the same old way of just making money and survive, it's going to stay like that. But when we have a higher self awareness, we start to see things how they're fitting in our long term plan, who we
Mhm.
can be, how it is actually going to take us forward to the next level of success. We
Mhm.
are going to find a way to make that happen. And that's why lack of self awareness is actually not helping most of the working professional and business owners to become who they can become. This is
Wow.
a place where the differentiation starts happening. Differentiation from human doing to human being. Self
Wow.
awareness distinguish that.
Say that again.
Okay. So self awareness, high
Yeah.
self awareness, this is a phase where differentiates differentiation starts. It differentiates us from human doing
Mm-hmm.
to human being. And
Wow.
we are human being first.
So what you're basically saying is, if a person's self-awareness is low, they will be buried in doing, in human doing, which means they are going to live at the lowest ebb of life, like
Yes.
at the lowest level. But when they do the things they need to do that raises their self-awareness level, then they actually become a human being. This is absolutely powerful. This is
Yeah.
a golden nugget right there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
Grateful for saying that and acknowledging that.
Yes.
Because I did the same mistake. I believed what I'm doing is who I am. With the limited self awareness, we start assuming what we do as to who we are. We mistake that, right? We mistake that we would say, oh, I'm a banker, I'm a
Mhm.
clerk, I'm a manager, I'm just an employee, I'm a homemaker, I'm a vice president,
Mhm.
I'm running business. And then we start thinking, this is who I am. And we take it for granted. We
Granted,
don't
yeah.
never question that. We never question that. We don't even consider who really I am. What am I here for?
Mhm.
How can I make a difference in my own way? What fulfills me? What brings out best in me?
Yes.
What tires me out? What am I tolerating? And such beautiful questions. This is what a mentor and a coach does for you, asking this soul raising questions.
Exactly. Exactly.
Thank you.
So then why would you say having low self-awareness is a big mistake?
Yeah. So as I explained earlier, that low self-awareness makes you assume things,
Mhm.
right? We start assuming, okay, I'm this person, I'm an employee,
Mhm.
I'm somebody who does accounting, I'm somebody who treats patient, right?
Mhm.
Then we assume things. We give away our greatness very easily.
Yeah.
We start defending our low positioning, the conformity. We start defending why we have to be like others. We defend our struggle for survival. We postpone our dreams, and some people even forgo it. We
Wow.
put our living life on hold, and I did for a very long period of time.
So in a way, when our self-awareness is low, we basically kind of give up on ourselves, right? So we operate at low level.
Yeah, we accept mediocrity. We accept mediocrity, whereas God has created us for some greater cause.
Wow. Wow. So
I, I
what would then would happen if maybe working with a coach like you, Coach Shilpa, that you help a client to increase their self-awareness?
yeah.
What would happen?
So let me start by saying a quote by C.G. Jung is that until you make unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it a fate. Until you make unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it a fate. So once we start having high self awareness, what would happen is that we can understand our zone of genius and our zone of excellence,
Mhm.
right? We start thriving. We can start building resilience, all 5 types of resilience: emotional, physical, spiritual, financial, mental resilience.
Mhm.
We can then develop inner silence so that we can listen to our calling, our passion, what's meaningful for us, and what is our purpose. Then we can align our work and career with who we are and who we are meant to be,
Mhm.
not what we assume we are and underestimate our abilities. We can start moving towards our desired future self. That is where the exponential growth happens.
Wow.
Research suggests that when we see ourselves very clearly, we are more confident, we are more creative, we make sounder decisions, build stronger relationships, and communicate more effectively.
Wow, that's very, very strong. Let me just paraphrase what you're saying. So basically,
Yes.
what you're saying is if I raise my self awareness, I become more aware of who I am.
Mm.
That means I become automatically more confident, I become more creative, I would make sounder decisions, and that means I'm able to communicate my needs more effectively. Is that correct?
Okay. Better said than me, actually.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I love that. So we've covered two mistakes. We've covered
Yes.
the first mistake, the second mistake. And I would like us to go to the third because you promised that you are going to share with our audience today three mistakes. What would this third mistake be?
Yeah. The third mistakes working professional and business owners do, which is also stemming from low self awareness and not consciously thinking about what their next level could be,
Mhm.
is lazy thinking and thinking short term. In other words, absence of critical thinking and thinking long term. That could be the third deadly mistake, which can keep people stuck from achieving their greater potential.
Wow, I love this.
So, as you asked me when we are having a discussion, is that why this is a mistake? Why would you think that this is a deadly mistake? And
Mhm.
this is what we discuss is that short-term thinking may help us with short-term goals, but it may not align with our bigger and aspirational goal.
Exactly.
Sometimes it can deter us or detour us from your real long-term goals.
Yeah.
So we end up taking random action based on my today's vision and the shorter distance I can see. And
Mhm.
it's not vision based action, these are need based actions. We think we are in a hurry, we are in a rush, we are doing a lot, but we are actually running in a circle or jogging at the same place, not reaching anywhere. And
Absolutely.
that's when we feel exhausted and frustrated because we don't see the growth, we don't see
Yeah.
the further path. So, in short term, people take, for example, low cost courses. No, I can spend only few rupees or few dollars. This is
Mhm.
cheaper, right?
Mhm.
Thinking about another example is few kilograms or few pounds weight loss versus
Mhm.
lifestyle health habits. Now, both are having some results, but one is a short term thinking with
Mhm.
a very hasty and fast action, sometimes extreme steps, versus adopting something for your long term lifestyle health goals.
Yes.
Somebody giving you a quick communication secret tips would help you
Mhm.
versus improving your own inner dialogues and inner communication for greater outer communication skills.
Beautiful. I like how you've really articulated this. So basically, with lazy thinking, or what most people would like to say, short-term thinking, we are in the now. We are basically dealing with firefighting, the emergency situation. So we kind of forget thinking in line with our vision and our mission, especially if we work for organizations or if you're a business owner. Would that be
Yes.
correct?
That would be absolutely right because we are now stuck into 1 year goal, business goals, or our KPIs, KPAs
Mhm.
we
Mhm.
call in the professional language. And that is for the 1 year. That's absolutely fine because you need to have some short-term goals as well. But whether they're aligning with your long-term goals, has there been any decision-making process or a planning and strategic thinking gone
Mhm.
for your own self? So that what is very important. And what happens when we do critical thinking? And I also feel, Gerald, is that we should be doing one special episode on critical thinking and long-term thinking because I'm sure
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
so much to contribute
Mhm.
from a leadership perspective as well on the critical thinking. So we would
True.
do that for our audience.
Yeah.
But when we do that, what happens is that we start building patience,
Yes.
right?
True.
We have resilience because we know we are doing long term,
Yes.
right? that gives us self-confidence and not self-judgment or critical because something didn't happen this particular minute or this day.
Mhm.
Right? We become creators and owners and start coming out of the victim mentality because we see long term.
Yes.
We start thinking not in hours and days, but in decades.
I
We
like that.
craft the life journey by design, not by default. We start taking more ownership because it's a conscious decision we have made. We become more patient as we know it's a long term journey and we can always learn from the mistakes and do the course correction.
Yeah.
We become more decisive and we have better abilities to make choices as now we can see how this is going to help me in the long term.
True.
So we can have a breather to enjoy the view of life, the beautiful journey, and not in a mad rush for a destination while we always progress towards it.
I like this. So basically, what you're saying is if we have strategic thinking, if we think critically, if we do long term thinking, then we are able to own the journey much more. We're not going to run like a headless chicken, as some people say. We are not going to go for mad dash, right? So, which means we will enjoy the journey. And absolutely, as you listen to this, I want you to just imagine a company where everybody is doing the runarounds. They're doing firefighting. So those kind of companies, those kind of organizations is where people experience burnout because they're moving in circles. Nobody is able to look into the future. And so I totally agree with you. I think we need another session where we're going to talk about long term thinking, strategic thinking, and critical thinking so that as a business owner or as a professional, working professional who is moving to transition or move out or move upwards, these are skills, these are techniques you should be able to pick.
Yeah,
Now,
absolutely.
yeah, go
Because
on.
long term thinking gives us a long term vision.
Yes.
It also gives us a specific decision making criteria. So, decision making becomes a process and not a random outcome.
Yeah.
So, long term vision allows you to innovate, experiment, have more patience with self as well as with others,
True.
gives you a strategy to work effectively on your vision. And sometimes people ask me, my clients ask me, Shilpa, this you talk about long-term vision and long-term strategic critical thinking, but there is also need to have execution. I also talk about productivity, execution, taking massive immediate actions. So how do you reconcile this? Right? And my simple answer to that is that patience for long-term vision and goal and principle-based thinking for your own self, while urgency for today, execution and action taking for perfecting the journey on the way.
Yeah, like that. I like that. So basically, you have both, and this is really where self-awareness is important. You know where to take the company or your career, but at the same time, you have the ability to deal with the urgency situation of today. It's not that you get buried with the urgency situation and you forget the future. So you actually do both, having both eyes open. And that's really, really beautiful. And one of the key things I've really liked about today's session is how you encourage the listener to stand out and learn from these mistakes. And the fact that you say they shouldn't work hard on job only. It's good to work hard on the job, but what is important is to work harder on yourself. So that if I work on myself, then I can increase my self-awareness. And when I can increase my self-awareness, as Carl Jung said, then I can remove things that are known to me. I can bring them to my consciousness. And I just love the way you articulated that. And the other important thing that I like is that you say, we as professionals, as business owners, should stop thinking lazy. We should stop just focusing on short term thinking. Instead, you advocate that we should choose critical thinking and think long term, while at the same time we are taking the daily actions. Some of it may be urgent, no problem, but whatever we do today should have a bearing on the future. And
Absolutely.
yes, I know you had something special in terms of a bonus for the listener. Can you elaborate more on that?
Yeah, I have given a special bonus. I created this after the research, and which is about the three mistakes working professionals do and what to do instead. And
Mhm,
I've added some additional mistakes and the things we can do instead, because it's not enough to just know the mistake.
mhm.
What should we do instead? Because just pointing out mistake without giving a further guidance is a halfway learning. So I try to make it more comprehensive, so people, working professionals, business owners can
Yeah,
download it and study it. And
yes,
please make sure that you read it and share with others to
yeah,
improve their success story as well, because that's our responsibility as we learn new things to pass it on to others.
yes. And one of the things I like that, I thank you for that gift of the special bonus about three mistakes working professionals and business owners do. And instead of doing those in the article, there are special things you got to do that are going to take you away from that mistake so that you can move to the next level. And one of the things we want you to look out for is a special guest who we are bringing in our next episode. We cannot
Yes,
wait to share that with you.
amazing. That's going to be awesome. I'm actually looking forward to talking to our special guest. It's going to be so much learning for us.
Yes, and if this is the first time you're joining us, make sure you subscribe, make sure you download, share this. Just like my co-host Shilpa said, teaching others is a strategy of you assimilating this message. And so, if you're able to read, if you're able to share, and teach some of these concepts that you learn from us with your colleagues. Invite your colleagues to listen to these episodes and be present. And also, we invite you to join our leadership community and career transition communities. And if you have need for speaking engagements and consultations and coaching and mentoring, you're most welcome to send us an email at leadtalkpodcast@gmail. We are ready to assist you to take you to your next level.
Absolutely. By then, stop struggling, start winning,
Thank
and
you.
take best care of yourself.
Yes. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.